And here comes a team I'm very high on. Now, I have pumped the brakes on taking too many futures this early, 2 months before the season started. So I've sort of pumped the brakes, but I want this Lions over badly. Win 6.5, over at -120. Division 12-1, conference 40-1, Super Bowl 80-1. The only person that I don't believe, I like this roster. It's, do I trust Matt Patricia? A lot of strange comments from him last year about preparation. I don't know. I expect him to be much, much better. I hope he is much, much better. Their offense was terrible last year. How much will it improve? They bring in the best tight end in the draft, T.J. Hawkinson, out of Iowa. They had C.J. Anderson from the Rams to spell Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson only played 7 games last year. This guy is very, very good, needs to stay healthy. They bring in Amendola. They bring in Curse. They need a healthy Marvin Jones Jr. He may or may not be healthy at this point. Trey Flowers, Snack should be strong up front. Darius Slay, an elite quarterback. Quandre Diggs at safety. Jared Davis at middle linebacker. Tavon Wilson, Tracy Walker at strong safety. How is it only 6.5 wins? I see this as being a good football team. Donnie Rightside, am I too high on these Lions?
I don't think you're too high on the Lions, but expectations that we're all looking at just from an outside perspective is say, well, I mean, we know it's a 3-horse race, and there's sort of that 4-horse bringing up the rear. So that's where you tend to get value when you're a gambler. When it's not one of those, hey, this team's really good, and you buy on the high side. You want to buy on the low side because I always like to take a look at the 5-year run when you really break it down in the NFL and you see the win totals where it's 5, 5.5, 6 or 6.5. You say, boy, that team is really bad. But even the bad teams win football games. It's the same baseball analogy. That team stinks so bad, but they're still going to win 60 games in the season. If we take a look at their 5-year win run, 11, 7, 9, 9, and 6. They're already right there. The thing you need in the thing you need in the NFL to win games is a quarterback and a guy who's willing to be able to come back in the fourth quarter and be a gunslinger. Matthew Stafford is that. The one thing that we needed them to improve on is the offense. You go out and get Amendola as the slot receiver. It doesn't sound that type of dynamic, but just that guy who can get open on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 is something they haven't had over the past couple of years because you have 2 pretty good outside wideouts in Jones and Golladay, and you have a nice plethora of running backs they can use. And Jimmy already brought up the point. They got a dynamic tight end. They have all levels that you can use. And let's flip it over to the defensive side. You get some nice additions in free agency. You have a good pass rush. You have a defensive end in Flowers who's going to play there for you as opposed to Zeke Anza, who seemed to miss every other game or maybe be banged up or not want to play football. You have good levels at linebacker, good levels at cornerback and also at safety, and you have a defensive-minded head coach. They're not going to win this division. They're not going to make the playoffs. But, Jimmy, they're getting 7 wins.
I think so. I think they can get 8 wins. Whale Capper,
yes.
Am I too high on the Lions?
No, we're in the same boat here. I think 7 is probably actually a reasonable floor for this team. I think most likely you're looking at 8 or 9, and a lot of it is because I really don't. I'm not a believer in the 3 teams that they share division with. I think they're going to get home wins against the likes of the Vikings, Packers, and Bears. So it's there are, and they have the easiest schedule out of these 4 teams there. And you look at Stafford's play last year, and you're like, wow, man, how did he turn into a bottom half of the league quarterback? And then lo and behold, reports trickle out this offseason. He was dealing with a fractured back. And so it's like, okay, well, if a guy is as talented as we know Stafford is, and he was limited by a back injury all year last year, it's completely reasonable to expect he has a much better performance in 2019 than we saw from him in 2018. And so, add that to the list of positives to back the Lions. I share 100% your concern, Jimmy, about Matt Patricia's ability to all of a sudden be a good coach. All of the signs, all of the indications, all of the reports out of Detroit Lions camp last year from the first training camp to the end of the season were not good. It did not look like Patricia is ready to be this, a head coach in the NFL. It does not look like he really took a lot of lessons from last year and applied them in terms of the way they, addressed their roster construction. I thought if they have a weakness on this team, it is in their secondary. They, instead of addressing the secondary, went after, high-priced free agents on the, pass rushing standpoint. You can do some good things with effective pass rushers, but, if you can't cover guys, if you're leaving guys open down the field, then you're going to lose some games you should be competitive in or you should win. And so that's probably the only Patricia and the holes in the secondary are the 2 things that are keeping me from kind of being like, there's value on the Lions to win the North. There probably is, because I really there are enough red flags on all the other teams, and of all of the there's every year there's a surprise. Last year, if we had done this NFC North, podcast, preview, I don't think we at all would have been like, bet the Bears to win the NFC North, right? There are surprises year in, year out. If the Lions happen to be the surprise this year and they come out and win the North with 9-7, where everybody else is 8-8, I will not be remotely surprised. They have the quarterback to do it, and they have a loaded roster. They just need Patricia to pull his head out of his ass, basically.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.